What if the hardest moment you've ever lived through wasn't random? What if it wasn't a punishment, or a failure, or a sign that life was against you, but a turning point you haven't fully understood yet? Think back for a moment to the breakup that crushed you, the job you thought you'd keep forever, the night you felt completely lost with no idea what to do next. Those moments felt heavy, unfair, even cruel. But what if they were quietly shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you were meant to become? Buddhist wisdom doesn't pretend that everything in life is perfect. It doesn't tell you to celebrate your suffering. Instead, it offers a softer, deeper truth. Nothing is wasted. Every experience leaves a trace inside you, a seed, a lesson, a redirection that slowly guides you toward a clearer version of your path. Even the moments you wish never happened may be carrying a meaning you haven't uncovered yet. In this video, we're going to walk through 7 gentle lessons that will help you see your life with new eyes, so that even your most painful memories begin to make sense. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll guide you through a short reflection, a simple practice you can do tonight before you sleep, to help you reframe one moment from your past that still feels heavy. It might just change the way you understand your entire story. Lesson 1. Life isn't against you, it's speaking to you. Most people move through life believing that everything that happens is somehow personal. When someone leaves, we say, "They abandoned me." When we fail, we whisper, "I wasn't good enough." And when life breaks something we were trying desperately to hold together, we assume, "Life is attacking me." Our minds are quick to turn every hardship into a story about our worth. But Buddhism invites us to see our experiences through a softer, wiser lens, not as punishments, but as messages. Life isn't a judge handing out sentences, it's a mirror reflecting truths we haven't yet recognized. Imagine life as a teacher who never uses words. It doesn't shout or argue. It rearranges your circumstances instead. When we don't listen to the gentle nudges, the discomfort, the intuition, the quiet sense that something isn't right, the lessons become louder. A repeated heartbreak, the same draining job, the same regret resurfacing every few years. These patterns aren't random coincidences or streaks of bad luck. They are life saying, "There is something here you still need to understand." Think about it. How many times have you found yourself in the same situation, with the same kind of person, facing the same emotional outcome? Most people blame fate or bad timing. But what if these repetitions aren't cycles of suffering, but cycles of teaching? What if every familiar disappointment is life patiently offering you a chance to choose differently this time? When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to show me?" everything changes. The pain doesn't disappear, but it becomes meaningful. The chaos doesn't feel like an attack, it feels like guidance. Slowly, you begin to realize that life has never been trying to break you down. It has been trying to wake you up. And maybe, the moments that felt the most unfair were actually the moments that were quietly steering you toward a truer version of yourself. Lesson 2. Pain as a sculptor. How suffering shapes the inner self. In Buddhism, suffering is never romanticized. It isn't something to chase, celebrate, or pretend is pleasant. But it is acknowledged as one of the most powerful forces in our inner evolution. Not because pain is noble, but because pain wakes us up. It interrupts the illusions we cling to. It exposes the truths we avoid. And it pushes us into a depth that comfort simply cannot reach. Suffering doesn't arrive to punish us. It arrives to shape us. Think of pain as a sculptor working quietly in the background of your life. It doesn't build by adding more. It builds by taking away. It chips gently, then firmly, at everything in you that isn't real. The masks you learn to wear, the roles you perform to feel accepted, the identities you inherited instead of chose. Little by little, the sculptor removes what hides your true form. And while the process may feel harsh, the intention is not destruction. It is revelation. Without discomfort, we rarely question the direction we're moving in. We stay in routines that drain us, hold on to people who no longer feel right, and cling to familiar habits even when they shrink our spirit. Without loss, we rarely appreciate what remains: presence, stillness, self-respect, connection. Pain interrupts autopilot. It forces us to step back and ask, is this who I want to be? Is this the life I really want to live? Every kind of suffering brings its own sculpting tool. Failure humbles us and softens our ego. Heartbreak deepens our capacity for compassion and tenderness. Betrayal sharpens our clarity, teaching us to see people and situations without illusions. Moments that once felt like endings often become the beginning of our awakening. You don't have to love what hurt you. You don't have to pretend it was beautiful, but you can learn to respect who you became because of it. You can recognize that the version of you standing here now is stronger, wiser, and more honest, not in spite of the pain, but partly because of it. Pain takes from you, yes, but it also gives you back to yourself. Lesson 3. From narrow tunnel to wide sky, expanding how you see your story. When we suffer, our perception collapses. Everything narrows. The world shrinks until all we can see is the one thing that hurts. It's like walking through life with your face pressed against one wall of a tunnel. You can feel the cold surface, the rough texture, the darkness closing in, but you can't see the rest of the path. Pain has a way of tightening our vision until we forget that there are other directions, other possibilities, other meanings waiting just a few steps away. Imagine standing inside a small, dark room with one tiny window. When you look through it, all you see is a brick wall. Day after day, you begin to believe that the brick wall is the whole world, solid, unchanging, unwelcoming. But what if you stepped outside the room? What if you turned around? You'd see that above the wall is a vast, open sky. Blue, endless, full of light. The wall was never the world. It was just the part you were closest to. This is what a shift in perspective feels like. The events of your life don't magically change. The breakup still happened. The failure still stung. The disappointment still cut deep. But when you rise to a wider vantage point, those same events begin to look different. They stop being the final chapter and become a sentence in a much longer story, a story still unfolding. From above, you can see how one closed door guided you toward another, how one painful ending opened a path you never would have considered. Try something gently powerful. Take one painful memory, just one, and imagine your future self, 10 years from now, standing beside you. Ask them, what did this moment teach us? What did it open? What did it prepare us for? You may not hear the answer clearly yet, but simply imagining that conversation widens your inner sky. Expanding your perspective doesn't erase the pain. It doesn't force you to pretend it didn't matter, but it stops the pain from becoming your entire world. And when the world expands, suffering loses its ability to cage you. Lesson 4. When life breaks your plans to protect your path. One of the hardest things to accept is this. Sometimes the plans you trusted, the ones you built your hopes on, suddenly fall apart without warning. A relationship you thought would last ends overnight. A job you were certain about disappears. A path you believed was secure collapses beneath your feet. In those moments, it's natural to feel targeted, abandoned, or betrayed by life. We tell ourselves, why would this happen now? What did I do wrong? Why is everything I imagined crumbling? But what if life isn't attacking you? What if it's protecting you? Think of your life as a house undergoing a quiet renovation. You stand inside and see only the dust on the floor, the broken tiles, the exposed wires. You see the mess, the wreckage, the familiar structure falling apart. But the architect, the deeper intelligence of your life, sees something else. The architect sees the blueprint you cannot see yet, the walls that must be removed so new doors can be built, the old structure that must be cleared so the foundation can finally hold something stronger. From where you stand, everything looks like chaos, but from another view, it is careful, intentional reshaping. Buddhism teaches that what leaves your life often leaves with purpose, not as punishment, but as preparation. Sometimes a chapter closes because it no longer aligns with your Dharma, the deeper, authentic direction of your soul. And when you refuse to walk away on your own, life gently, or forcefully, removes what cannot travel with you into the next phase. Think back to real moments in your life. You might have been forced to move to a different city, angry and confused, only to later realize you escaped an environment that was slowly draining you. Maybe you lost a role that made you feel important on the outside but hollow on the inside. And without that loss, you never would have stepped into work that felt meaningful. At the time, these moments felt like destruction, but looking back, they were protection. Here's the truth we rarely tell ourselves. Not every collapse is a collapse. Sometimes it's a correction. Sometimes life removes the things you're gripping too tightly, not to hurt you, but because your hands need to be free for what's coming next. Chaos isn't always cruelty. More often, it's redirection. The universe quietly pulling you toward a path you would never choose on your own, but one that ultimately leads you closer to who you're meant to become. Lesson 5. The quiet law. Beneath events, understanding Dharma softly. In Buddhism, there is a gentle truth beneath everything we experience, a quiet order that guides our lives even when we feel lost. This is Dharma, not destiny, not fate, and not some fixed script we're forced to follow. Dharma is much simpler and far more compassionate. It is the natural way life unfolds when you live in truth. Truth with yourself, truth with others, and truth with the world around you. When your inner world and your outer actions match, life begins to move with a kind of quiet ease. Imagine Dharma as a hidden current flowing beneath a river. From the surface, all you might see are small ripples, waves, reflections of light. But underneath, deeper than the eye can perceive, there is a steady direction, a subtle pull guiding the entire river forward. You don't see it, but it is always there, shaping the flow, redirecting obstacles, gently carrying everything toward its destination. In the same way, you don't always see how your life is being guided. You only see the ripples at the surface, the setbacks, the delays, the unexpected changes. But beneath those visible moments, there is a deeper movement quietly unfolding. We stray from Dharma when we move away from our own values, when we stay in relationships out of fear instead of truth, when we pretend to be someone we're not to gain approval, when we silence our inner voice because the world is loud. And the further we move from our authenticity, the heavier life feels. You may know this sensation well, the sense of pushing through mud, of running into the same walls, of feeling blocked no matter how hard you try. This heaviness isn't punishment, it's misalignment. It's life gently whispering, not this way, try another path. But the opposite is also true. When we act from honesty, kindness, inner clarity, and awareness, something surprising happens. Doors open more naturally. Opportunities appear without force. The right people show up. The right timing reveals itself. It doesn't mean everything becomes effortless, but the resistance fades. You stop swimming against the current of your own life. Dharma is not rigid. It isn't the idea that everything is fixed or that every suffering is pre-written. Dharma simply means this: every choice you make has a direction, and every direction shapes your path. Even small choices, telling the truth instead of avoiding it, choosing peace over pride, setting boundaries instead of collapsing into old patterns, shift the flow of your life. Dharma is less about what happens to you and more about how your inner world guides what grows from each moment. Take a moment to reflect on this quietly. Is there an area in your life where you feel constant friction? A job that feels like walking uphill every day? A relationship that drains you? A dream you've abandoned because you convinced yourself it wasn't practical? Ask gently, is life saying no? Or is it asking me to walk in a truer direction? Sometimes the friction isn't a barrier, it's a signpost, a redirection towards something more honest, more aligned, more reflective of who you truly are. When you begin to understand Dharma softly, not as a rule, but as a rhythm, you stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start seeing that life is happening with you, guiding you, nudging you, reshaping you, helping you return to the path that feels like home. Lesson 6. Letting go of the steering wheel you never really held. From a young age, we're taught a very specific formula for safety. Plan more, work harder, stay in control, and life will reward you. We're told that if we map every detail, anticipate every outcome, and tighten our grip on the future, nothing will go wrong. But reality works differently. Life doesn't follow our blueprints. It doesn't move according to our checklists. And the more we try to control everything, the more exhausted, anxious, and discouraged we become. We mistake tension for responsibility and fear for careful planning. A Buddhist perspective offers a gentler, more honest truth. Much of what we believe we control, we never controlled at all. Imagine sitting on a train. The world is passing by outside the window, landscapes changing, people appearing, paths shifting with every mile. You're seated in the same place as everyone else, yet your hands are gripping the armrest tightly, as if holding it will keep the train steady. In your mind, that armrest has become the steering wheel. Your body is tense, your shoulders raised, your breath shallow. But here's the reality. The train was never being driven by you. It was moving on its own tracks the entire time. This is what the illusion of control feels like. We grip tightly to people, to outcomes, to plans, to timelines, believing our tension is what keeps life from falling apart. But the armrest is not the steering wheel. It never was. Buddhist wisdom teaches that there are only 3 things you truly control: your intentions, your actions, and your responses. That's it. You don't control how people behave. You don't control the timing of opportunities. You don't control when healing arrives or when change finally unfolds. You don't control the storms or the silence. You don't control the train, only how you sit inside it. When this truth sinks in, something shifts inside you. You start to realize that letting go isn't weakness. It isn't passivity. It isn't giving up. Letting go simply means releasing the things you were never responsible for in the first place. Letting go means you stop forcing life to obey your script. Letting go means you show up with sincerity but not with demands. Letting go means you take action but release expectations. Letting go means you trust the wisdom of timing, even when it doesn't match your plans. A powerful reframe is this: surrender isn't laziness. Surrender is doing your best without insisting that life must reward you in a specific way. It's the quiet confidence that the right things will unfold when they're meant to, not when fear demands them. You don't stop working. You don't stop dreaming. You don't stop caring. You simply stop gripping. Here is a simple practice, one that slowly unravels decades of tension. Tonight, before bed, place a hand on your heart and whisper, "Today, I did what I could. The rest, I release." Feel how the body softens. Feel how the breath deepens. Feel how your weight settles into the moment as if returning home after a long journey. You never had full control, but you always had choice. You always had intention. You always had your presence. And that, more than any illusion of control, is what truly shapes your path. Lesson 7. Walking calmly into the unknown. One of the greatest fears human beings carry, silently, privately, often without ever speaking it aloud, is the fear of not knowing. Not knowing what will happen to our relationships. Not knowing whether the job will last. Not knowing if our health will stay steady. Not knowing whether what we're hoping for will arrive, or whether what we're afraid of will break us. Uncertainty sits at the edge of every major decision, every change, every beginning, and every ending. And because we cannot predict what's coming next, we spend much of our lives bracing for impact, trying to control outcomes that have never been in our hands. But what if uncertainty isn't the enemy? What if it's the very place where awakening begins? Imagine this. You're walking through a forest at night, holding a small lantern. The air is cool, the path beneath you uneven. The lantern's light reaches only a few steps ahead. Beyond that, everything is shadowed, undefined. You can't see the entire road. You don't know where the path curves, where it narrows, where it opens. Yet every time you take a step forward, the light moves with you. The next few steps become clear, and then the next, and the next. You never see the whole journey at once, but you always see enough to keep going. This is what it means to walk calmly into the unknown. Life rarely reveals the entire path. It shows you only the step that is meant for you now. But we panic because we want the whole map. We crave guarantees. We cling to certainty as if knowing the future could somehow protect us from pain. Yet in Buddhism, clinging is the very root of suffering. Not because desire is wrong, but because the attempt to force life into a fixed shape creates inattention. Certainty is comfortable, but it is also stagnant. When we insist on knowing exactly how things will unfold, we close ourselves off from possibilities we never imagined. We stop growing. We stop trusting. We stop living fully because we're too busy trying to control what is uncontrollable. Awareness shifts this. When your attention is placed on the step you're taking, not the ones 10 miles ahead, peace becomes possible. You realize you don't need the entire road to feel safe. You just need presence. One breath, one decision, one illuminated step. And from that small moment of awareness, the unknown softens. Uncertainty becomes less like a threat and more like a spacious field, open, alive, full of paths not yet walked. It becomes a training ground where trust is strengthened, where patience deepens, where your relationship with yourself matures. In the unknown, you learn to hear your intuition more clearly. You learn to notice subtle signs you would have missed if you were rushing. You learn that life doesn't always give answers first. Sometimes it gives experiences that shape you into the person who can hold the answer when it finally arrives. Many people are waiting for all the signs, all the clarity, all the certainty, before they allow themselves to begin. But ask yourself gently, where in your life are you waiting for every answer before you allow yourself to live? Where are you postponing your joy, your healing, your growth, simply because you can't see the outcome yet? The truth is, no one ever sees the whole path. Not the strongest person you know, not the wisest, not the happiest. Everyone is walking with a lantern that lights only a few steps ahead. But those steps, taken with awareness and sincerity, are always enough. Life does not require you to know everything. It only asks you to show up for the part you can see and trust that the rest will unfold in its own time. Bonus practice: turning events into teachers. Buddhist philosophy becomes truly powerful when it steps out of ideas and enters your daily life. Wisdom isn't something you study once. It's something you return to moment after moment until it becomes the way you move through the world. That's why this simple nightly ritual can reshape the way you experience everything, even the moments that felt random, chaotic, or unfair. Each night, before you go to sleep, take a slow breath and recall one event from your day that bothered you, confused you, or left a small ache inside your chest. It doesn't need to be dramatic. Sometimes the smallest moments hold the biggest lessons. A conversation that felt off, a disappointment, a moment of impatience, a feeling you didn't understand. Now ask yourself 3 gentle questions, not to judge yourself, but to understand the deeper movement beneath the surface. First, what did this reveal about me? Did it show you a fear you're still carrying? A boundary you've been ignoring? A part of yourself that wants to be seen and healed? Second, what did it protect me from or redirect me toward? Life often guides us in ways we don't notice. Maybe the delay prevented a mistake. Maybe the discomfort pushed you toward a truer choice. Third, what quality is life trying to grow in me here? Patience, courage, honesty, compassion. Every experience is shaping something within you. Naming it turns chaos into clarity. When you finish, place a gentle hand over your heart and offer a small inner bow. Whisper softly, "Thank you for this lesson, even if I don't fully understand it yet." With this ritual, nothing in your day is wasted. Every challenge becomes a teacher. Every moment becomes a step on your path toward awareness, strength, and inner peace. Closing reflection. Nothing random, nothing wasted. As you arrive at the end of this teaching, take a moment to breathe. Slowly, softly, just enough to feel your chest rise and fall. You've walked through pain that changed you. You've lived through nights you thought would break you. And yet, here you are, carrying a depth you didn't have before, a strength that wasn't always yours, a quiet wisdom earned through everything you survived. Life has been writing on your heart, even when you thought it was only taking things away. The moments that confused you, the detours you resented, the endings that felt unfair. They may be the very moments that have been quietly saving you. Nothing in you is wasted, not your tears, not your silence, not your lost years. Every chapter, even the painful ones, has added something to your becoming. You may not see the full pattern yet, and that's okay. You're not meant to understand the whole story at once. What matters is that step by step, breath by breath, you are being shaped into someone your past self was praying you would one day become. Someone steadier, someone softer, someone more awake to who they truly are. Before you go, I'd love for you to reflect gently. What is one event in your life that shaped you, even if you only understood it much later? Share it in the comments. Your story might be the exact light someone else needs tonight. And if this brought you clarity or comfort, I invite you to subscribe Deepest Wisdom channel for more Buddhist wisdom spoken gently to your heart. May your path feel a little lighter as you continue forward.